Hi, I'm the American Logger, and I'm running for President of the United States. I'm not gonna go around trying to make you happy and feel good about things. I'm just gonna get straight to the issues. You decide for yourself. Okay, first I'm talking about sunlight, transportation. On cars, I believe there should be a speed control. So cars, depending on the state, some states are a little fast, but 65 miles an hour. I've seen too many kids wrap around a tree at 90 miles an hour when it's not even legal to go over 65. It's just a simple adjustment in the factory, and a car can't go over 65. It'll save millions and millions of dollars in gas, and it'll save lives, increase the productivity of Americans too. Okay, drinking, it's just not fair that somebody can go to war at 18 and they can't drink until they're 21. There's something weird about that. It's like showing us that life is unfair. I mean, either raise the age to go to Army to 21 or lower drinking age to 18. One or the other. You can't have both. Okay. As far as traveling in general, people in the United States travel 3 or 4 times, 5 times more than any other country. Driving around, it's easy for us, and it's a way of life. It's the American way. Probably should be decreased a little bit. Just work with what we have. What we should increase is the travel of energy. If we have absolute zero power lines running from the Midwest, where there's plentiful wind energy, to the Northeast, that would be a lot better than putting a couple new highways in here and there. Okay, nuclear energy, not really a good idea. I mean, it's here forever. If there's a disaster, like a Fukushima and stuff, there shouldn't be any new ones. Keep the ones that they have, until, you know, as long as they're safe, and try to be better for us to reduce. It's hard for Americans. We got to reduce consumption a little bit so we don't need nuclear power plants. Environment, there's a lot to say about that, but the main thing is that we're here to protect the land. The land is what supports us. And people don't realize building one house, going into a forest, cutting a lot, putting a nice house in, oh, it's beautiful, it's in the forest, that's worse than clear cutting 1,000 acres of land for timbering. It's land that'll never be forest again. It'll be used for productivity. I mean, it might be nice to live there and everything, but we kind of have to concentrate living centers. There's less forested land in the Northeast for the last 6 years. They always say, oh, there's more forest now than ever. That's not true anymore. There's less forest. It's going down. It's been going down for a while. They just don't talk about it. Okay, abortion. My policy would be to reduce abortion by 1/2. So basically, instead of 1.4 million abortions a year, there'll be 700,000. We'll do this. We use information from both sides of the argument now, the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers. Increase adoption, make adoption easier for people. Contraceptives, make them more readily available. Educate women on the pain that it causes them to abort their child later on. Those mental health issues are 50% greater for women who've had abortions than women who haven't had abortions. And it's just, it needs to be reduced. Right now, the Democratic platform is not to reduce it anymore. It's just to kind of keep it where it is. They used to want to reduce it, but it's changing. It's not a good trend. Healthcare. Basic thing, the more money we throw at it, the more it's going to cost. It's a cost to society. It's not a positive thing. And the more we give it, the more it takes. Quality doesn't necessarily go up. For legalizing drugs, you've seen in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, people cutting kids' heads off because they're high on marijuana laced with PCP. It's like, I can't believe you want to legalize something like that. I mean, maybe to have more controls of it, so PCP is not in marijuana, it might be a good thing. For harder drugs, not good. If you get, there's studies coming out now, if you give kids drugs, illegal drugs, it limits their IQ, stunts their mental growth. The penalties for when you're an adult for using drugs are going to be decreased. The penalties if you sell it to a kid, tripled. It's bad. Sexual promiscuity, everybody thinks, you know, going out, it's like, it's a wonderful thing, you can get lucky or whatever. It's taken away from the family. It's taken away from a lot of things. Just on healthcare costs alone, it's almost as much as the cost of smoking. For AIDS, STDs, abortions. If we didn't have that, there'd be a lot less money spent on healthcare. And it's, you know, keep it in your pants. get married, you have sex all you want. It's not like smoking. You got to stop smoking completely to have health things. Just meet a person, stay with one person. It's better. It's better in the long run. Better for the family, better for the kids. Immigration, right now, we have a policy where we don't let educated immigrants in that much. And the educated immigrants are the ones that would really boost the economy a lot more. It's nice, we're nice to immigrants that don't have a lot, poor people and stuff, but there's a limit to it. For the costs of society are structured so that if someone comes in with 4 or 5 kids, they're making $25,000, $30,000 a year, they're contributing a few $1,000s to the economy, and their kids are costing $150,000. It's just, it doesn't add up. Racism, right now, definition for racism is whatever is bad for a minority is racism, whatever is good for a minority is not racism. That's completely hypocritical. It has to be biased toward a race, good or bad. That's what racism is. And through that you go into hate crimes. It's like, I would get rid of hate crimes. I do not want to put a law against human emotion. It's a thought crime. It's leading toward tyranny. It's not good. They just have an excuse to get more control of the government. War is kind of a fact of life. It's been going on forever. There's always power shifts and control. But there's less war now than there's probably been. There's fewer people getting killed than ever in history. So it's actually a lot safer. As much as we think there's a lot of wars going on, it's actually much safer than it's been. And another thing against nuclear energy is a nuclear bomb can change all that. So it could throw the balance of power way off. It's the extent of damage that can be done is much greater with that. Economics. Basic rule of economics: if you throw money at something, it's going to cost more. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be better. It just means it's going to cost more. You could have a little bit more in here. You get into the law of diminishing returns, which no one seems to talk about anymore. They're just trying to get more and more for who they are. Education is it's not affordable, but not in the way you mean or people think about. It's affordable that teachers kind of make too much money as far as the money that goes into it and the benefits to society. I look at it as you can take classes away from kids, you can tax the taxpayers more than they're already paying, and they're struggling. Or you can kind of reduce teachers' salaries. And I know it's like, oh, it's education, you can't touch it, this and that. It's like teachers in my area, teachers are retiring, they're making well, if you include benefits and pension accruement, they're making well over $1,000 a day, $1,200, $1,400 a day. That's a lot of money. I live in suburbia. It's not like I live in Long Island in Nassau County or something. And the tax rates in my neighboring town are more than you would pay for a mortgage on a new house. And it's going to go up more because a big factory is going out. It's not, you just can't spend that much money. And I don't want to hurt the kids. Keep all the teachers, reduce their salaries. And getting to work, I believe there's 5 reasons to work. You work for yourself, so you provide for yourself, provide for your family. You work for the customer. You're providing them with some kind of service or product so they can make their lives better and get what they need. You work for your boss. You want your boss to make money. He's organizing the work for you. He's setting up. He's doing work himself. It's not like he's not working. He's doing just a different type of work. So he has to make money too. You're making money for him. He's not sitting there so you can make money for yourself and he doesn't get anything. You got to realize that. You work for charity, the government, the church, helping other people. And that leads into the 5th reason. You work to make the world a better place. If you do all those 5 things, you got a pretty good job. Jobs bill. My idea for a jobs bill is to completely revamp unemployment. No public sector worker will get unemployment at the current rate. They will get it, but they'll have to put 2 days of work in per week in order to keep the unemployment benefits. And they're not getting paid for that. That's part of the unemployment. It's necessary to work 2 days a week. The taxpayers are paying them to sit home. There's teachers sitting home on unemployment. They can come in 2 days a week. They're still getting paid. It's still okay money to come in. And there's kids there that can't read. There's roads, there's bridges that have to be fixed, and we're paying people to sit home. There's not that much money laying around. I mean, we can keep borrowing and stuff. It's not really good. Stimulus bill. Any stimulus bill, it only goes directly toward employees' salaries. It doesn't go for infrastructure, buying factories, only for workers. And it's paid 80% of the rate that you would normally get for that job. And it's because it's government money. It's an S job. You can think of an S job of whatever you want, but it's a job. It's better than sitting home doing nothing. Welfare, this is a very complicated issue, but basically, if you're getting money from welfare, it kind of averages out to about $6 an hour if you figure it in if you work a 40-hour week for a month. So if somebody hires you and the minimum wage is $7.50, whatever, $8, $10 they want it, that comes directly off your hourly pay. I know a lot of people on welfare, they just need just a little bit of extra money and they could make it. And what that does is it shuts them down. They can't go out and do that because it's not worth it for a lot of people to hire them at that. But they're already getting $6 an hour from the government, so if someone pays them $3 an hour, then it's like they're getting $9 an hour, and they can kind of survive on that, you know, and catch up with their payments a little bit. The government, the structure of the government is wrong. The structure of the economy is off base. Right now, the government's local and federal is pretty close to 50% of the GDP. It's way too much. It's got to be like 25% for federal, state, local, all that. It can only be that much. 3/4 of the people support 25% of the people who provide us an infrastructure to work in. That's a healthy balance. That would be much better. Also, the Second Amendment. Second Amendment is very important for democracy. It's a measure of the health of democracy. It spreads power out amongst the people. And housing prices getting depressed, losing jobs. The government has way too much power. They're decreasing democracy by the structure of the economy and the government. And we want to increase democracy. We want it to be a better world. And if you want a better world, vote for me for president. John Grzybowski, I'm the American Logger. Thank you.